Hey there, Bear Club! At the Mama Bear Initiative, we explore how to protect ourselves so we can protect our cubs, the people who depend on us. Join us and get the confidence you need to stay safe, make good choices, and protect yourself and those you care about. Let's go!
All right. Uh-oh. I forgot who I was and what I was doing.
Oh dear.
That's not a good sign for the rest of this podcast. Oh dear. It's happening already. Doggone it. Okay. Hello. I'm Stephanie Dunham. Welcome to the Mama Bear Initiative podcast. I'm Stephanie Dunham. Oh gosh, I said my name twice.
I am Evelyn Mason. I said my name once.
And I'm Rochelle Knapp.
She's not going to bother saying she said her name once.
Some truths are self-evident.
Yeah, okay. It's been a kind of a day, especially the last couple of hours. I was watching a YouTube video on, Wednesday, because I ended up staying home from the dojo because I unfortunately drank something that had corn syrup in it, which meant taking Benadryl, and I was completely zonked for like 2 hours. And I woke up from that 2 hours like sick to my stomach. So I just stayed home. I went to bed and scrolling around on on YouTube. And, as one does in the shorts.
Are you saying you were wearing shorts?
No, I was not wearing shorts. Anyway, there's an in joke there. I said something once about YouTube shorts. Anyway, I came across this video for homemade General Tso's that would beat takeout General Tso's. I don't generally buy that kind of stuff because of the corn thing. I don't know what they coated the chicken with. So I like General Tso's. So I decided to make it on my own. And it's very tedious. Very tedious. But I planned ahead and got all my ingredients when we went shopping Friday, and it was quite good, I have to say.
Yes, it was very good. It was a little rather labor intensive, but very good.
Yes, and thank you for Rochelle and my son helping me get stuff prepared. We had rice and steamed broccoli, fresh broccoli to go with it. But that put us behind schedule a little bit. So, and I was last minute last bit of the cooking in the kitchen sweating.
Lovely.
And my husband's in there. Ooh, what's this one? Get out of here!
Leave me alone. Trying to make
Leave me alone. Just trying to get it done. We talked about this whole melting down thing when things aren't going quite right. I was just definitely feeling the pressure because I was like, I think I finished all the frying and everything by 20 after. So next time, start maybe half an hour sooner.
Yeah, and it always, there's this saying that says, it always takes longer than you think. And then I think it's like doubled or tripled when you're trying a new recipe, where if you watched it on YouTube, they're like, and then you do this, and then you do that. And you're like, dang, this won't take long.
And
then,
wrong.
It took them a whole 5 minutes. It took them 5 whole minutes.
Yep.
Like, man, I got this. And yeah.
No, it was kind of labor intensive because it had grated ginger, grated garlic, chopped green onions. It had 3 different things to put the chicken in. I had to do an instant cart for one of the seasonings, MSG, because I don't.
Yeah.
And it was that accent one with the AC accent CENT. My mother always had it when we were growing up. She used it a lot. Yeah,
she did. A lot.
Yeah, we used to use that occasionally till we found out my mom and I would get vicious headaches from it. So I was like, oh, no MSG for us. We can have it in small quantities, but yeah.
Well, if I make you General Tso's, I'll leave it out.
Yes, I would appreciate that. I really wouldn't want a ferocious headache. It's kind of like, so I made you this chicken, but I put a little corn syrup in it, but you'll be fine. No.
It's good to know about the MSG when cooking for the bestie.
I appreciate that.
Anyway, so we decided we were having our meeting on blah, 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 blah. That's all, folks.
That's all, folks.
Oh, Lord. Okay. All right. So Saturday, we were having our meeting. We were figuring out what to talk about, and Rochelle brought up facing reality.
Yeah.
About trauma.
And about trauma. But that's a huge topic, and there's so many like things that realities you have to face. We started making a list.
Here's the list. Pretty
There
much
it
the
is.
entire page.
Yeah.
So we're like, we might want to narrow this down a bit.
Yeah. We decided to talk about the reality is there aren't any quick fixes to trauma recovery. Okay, that's all. Bye-bye.
Thanks for joining us. We hope you enjoyed the podcast tonight. Please share with your friends.
Our 5-minute podcast.
Mostly about the trials and tribulations of making General Tso's chicken. Oh, and by the way, recovery is not quick. Have a nice day,
takes a long time. Good night.
Good night.
Long time.
Or goodbye if you're watching this during the day.
Yeah.
Oh, God. We're cracking ourselves up. Yeah. Well, okay. So, no quick fixes to trauma recovery. And this is a really huge problem because, at least for myself, I've encountered so much in the way of positivity culture and grind culture. I mean, it's all over the internet, right? And I'm thinking to myself, well, I should be able to buck myself up and just do it, right?
Just do it. Yeah.
I've been trying for, 15 or more years to lose weight. There's no quick fix. I was remembering this the other day. I was seeing a gastroenterologist for some problems I was having after an illness, and he was treating it, and I went back for a follow-up visit, and we talked about that, and then he sat down in front of me. He closed the door and he sat down in front of me, and he goes, "You really should think about gastro surgery to lose weight." And I'm like, what? Blindsided me. Hello. And then he was like insisting that I must do this. And I'm like, I don't want that surgery. Right. And he goes, well, you need to control it. And I'm like, well, I have depression. This is like 15 years ago. And he's like, well, I have, depression and stuff. And it's not that easy for me to, you need to, and I'm like, he wanted to quick fix my weight loss issues because even if I'd had the surgery, right, I still would have dealt with the binging, the addiction issues, the, all the emotional problems that cause the binging and the addiction issues. Like it wouldn't have helped.
Right.
Because I've known people who've had the surgery and still didn't lose weight because they wouldn't stop eating the way that they were prior to the surgery. Because part of it is that you can't eat as much, but they were trying to. Some did lose some weight, and some people did fantastic on it, but I think their minds were already ready.
Yeah. I've seen it both ways. I know somebody in particular, they lost the weight for a while, but, when you don't address the underlying cause, and they gain the weight back, and they might as well not have even had the surgery, as far as,
right.
It didn't really solve the problem at all. And it cost boku bucks.
And if you're going all the way to like gastric bypass, that's very dangerous because your stomach's like that big or smaller and you can't eat a lot of food without making yourself sick. So you're trying to do something that's almost impossible. And then if your stomach expands as they do again, you're right back to, like we were saying, right back to overeating or whatever is happening to you, or making yourself sick or all of the above. I'm not really sure. But it's very dangerous. I think it's probably safer now than it was when it first started, but it's still a huge risk and very dangerous and very permanent. So
Yeah, I mean, there's different kinds now. They have like a gastric sleeve, they have the bypass, they have this other, I don't know, there's multiple versions of it now. Some are more dangerous than others. I mean, I knew of somebody who had it done and then got an infection or something and almost died. But that's beside the point.
Yeah,
right.
no
I mean, I didn't want them to mess with my stomach. I was already having stomach issues anyway. I didn't want them to mess with that.
Right.
But the point is the doctor had a quick fix for me. But looking back now, it wouldn't have helped.
Right.
And I feel like there's been so much in my life where directly or indirectly people have tried to apply quick fixes to my problems. Now I've come to realize, I say in the last, I don't know, 3-4 months, that most people just don't get what I'm going through. Like if I go up for prayer at church and I say I have anxiety about X thing, the people are thinking of the people that want to pray for me often are trying to apply principles for normal anxiety. I have like pathological anxiety, I guess you could call it. So they're trying to apply things like journal writing, other spiritual things, praying, quiet time, etc. Now, while those things are good and probably helpful to some people, they're not going to fix my anxiety. It's just not going to happen. And positivity culture, in my opinion, I mean, I'm not against being positive. Okay. I feel like I have to work to be positive because my propensity is to be negative. But, so I know that being positive and grateful and all those things are better for you in general. So I have to work at doing that. But positivity for the sake of being positive to me is a little bit detrimental.
Yeah.
And it's used as a quick fix for a lot of problems. Like if you just change your mindset, it'll all be good. That's really prevalent in the church.
Yeah. And it's everywhere. And they make it sound so simple. Like just say this over yourself, or say this to yourself, or just as if, okay, so if I do this, it's going to fix this, right? So let me do this. And I remember back when I was experiencing a lot of anxiety, and I was reading a book about, it was a Christian book, but it was about how to basically have more joy in your life. So they were like, find all the scriptures about joy, find fun quotes about joy. And I was force feeding a whole stack of quotes that I wrote on 3x5 cards. And it was scripture, and it was, the positive things. And
what do you mean by force feeding? Did you literally putting them in your mouth?
Okay, metaphorically.
Okay.
So I would take this stack. And I would be like, okay. And now, no, I would read it and I would be like trying to force myself to believe it or even believe it. So, yeah, this, and it's funny because I can't even think of any offhand as much as I was, working on it. Rejoice in the Lord always. Again, I say rejoice. So, okay, what does that even mean? Yeah. Yay! Rejoice.
Or Jeremiah 9:11, for I know the plans that I have for you.
Yeah. And so, and I had this stack, and every day I read them, and I kept waiting for it to work. And I remember at one point when my situation was getting worse instead of better, and just going like, what am I doing wrong?
Right.
This has made it into a book. There's all these testimonials in the book of how it worked for them. I'm doing all the things, and it's getting worse instead of better.
Yeah. It seems like they want it to be neat and tidy and not messy and not, long term, and they want explanation and they want to understand, and they don't want it to be complex. And I can't tell you how many times I was prayed over to be delivered from my trauma when I was younger. And I'm like, and I knew enough even then to know that's not how this works. I didn't know much beyond that. at least understood this is gonna be a long-term situation. It wasn't just gonna be prayed away or delivered. I would be delivered from it in the way that they were thinking I would be.
Right.
And healing wasn't for mental illness; it was for physical illness. And unless somebody has something extreme like autism or some other mental deficiency, but something like trauma, you should just be able to overcome it just by praying or just by, like Evelyn was saying, like using scripture and all that kind of stuff. And that's not
Just be
how
positive.
it works.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Just be positive.
Just
And I
focus on
think-
your goals.
It makes you feel like a big failure. Because you're just literally trying to breathe and trying to get through each day without falling down into some sort of terrible depression or who knows what. And it's really tough to hear things like that and feel like you're a failure because you can't measure up.
Right.
You can't do what they're telling you to do or suggesting to you what you should do. You're just floundering and you don't know why. And it's very discouraging and very frustrating.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And once I understood this is for the rest of my life, as hard as that was to accept, that it was also extremely comforting because I'm like, oh, I don't have to I don't have to fight so hard to conjure up whatever idea of the moment there is. I can just be messy and take my time and figure it out and go through each day the best I can.
Yeah. And they'll say they are. And when I say they, I mean anybody I've encountered over the years that's tried to force me into some sort of thing that was supposedly fix me. In the last, 10 years, I had a chiropractor tell me that the cure for my depression was to walk.
I remember you mentioning that.
That
crazy.
was the third time. That was the third thing this person had said to me that I was like, no,
No.
I'm done. I didn't go back. After that. But
Yeah.
I was like, well, if that was going to cure my depression, I would be doing it every day.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, when it comes to things like that, I remember trying that as well. Well, if you exercise. So I exercised. I mean, I became a very fit, miserable person.
Yeah.
A fit, miserable person.
I mean, it helped a little, but nothing was touching the underlying stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I could get to a certain point, like trying to eat better, because that can impact your mood too.
Sure.
So I cut way back on sugar, and I found that, okay, my blood sugar isn't spiking and, whatever, and that's good. But
Yeah.
there was this whole area that nothing seemed to touch.
I think the belief is that the problems are just what you believe. While that's true, there's also an element of brain trauma, like brain development, that your brain is wired a specific way to respond to threats or what seems like a threat. And we have a hard time discerning what is and isn't a threat. We have to actually work through it. Like, it's not automatic.
Yeah.
Right.
If I hear a noise, I realized recently, listening to Pete Walker, I know we keep bringing him up, the startle response for people like us is extremely high. And I've had a few cases in the past 10 years where someone startled me. Now, first of all, they knew I was in the martial arts. Second of all, they knew that we studied something akin to the ancient ninja arts. So the expectation is I hear everybody coming. And so if I startled as a result of them sneaking up on me or just walking up to me, somehow I was wrong. I was like, what's wrong with you? You're a ninja. You should be able to handle this. And I'm like, and I felt bad about it, to be honest with you. I felt ashamed that I was so easily startled, but listening to the book is letting me know that, I am easily startled for a good reason. It's not just something I made up. Like,
right.
My brain is wired this way, which means I have to do a lot of extra work to just react normally to something.
Yes. I remember a couple of years ago, starting to work on my startle response because, yeah, I mean, I could go from 0 to 100, just some sudden noise. And it wasn't even necessarily what would normally startle someone. It would just be like something sudden. And immediately it was like, and then I'm all jacked up. I'm, then I have to try to calm down. And it took a while. And it took a while for me to, and I'm still working on it. I mean, I have not arrived. In fact, I almost ran into a coworker today. I think we were both pretty startled. But anyway, coming around the corner. But to actually go, okay, nothing bad is, identify the sound, nothing bad is happening. Work on your breathing, calm, lower the shoulders.
Right.
But yeah, and you wonder, like, it's not just that I can sneak up on you and you're a ninja, but there's something not normal in how we respond to things, where it does go so extreme.
Wait, you said there's something not normal? It's all not normal.
I guess what I'm saying is, like, people get startled anyway with loud noises and whatnot in general, but this is like next level.
We got all the alarm bells going off all the time. They're on, and they're going like this in our brains, and something will happen and it'll go like that, and no one can stop that from happening.
Yeah,
it happens, and you're suddenly like, oh, what happened? And now you have to figure out what it was, what to do about it, stop any racing thoughts or physical responses, try to calm those down. Like you're saying, out in noises that are normally not startling noises, like a loud gunshot, for example, nearby would probably be startling to anybody.
Right.
But a creak over in the corner of the floor, not really. It's kind of expected, but people like us will be like, was that someone in the corner? Because the expectation is the noise means something to our brains. And so we're kind of stuck. We're kind of stuck in this, the results of the stuff that happened, the hypervigilance, and therapy is helping us to circuit by circuit undo it. But it takes so much time. It takes so much effort. And so in the meanwhile, I've decided I'm going to stop going to regular people for help, first of all. I'm not going to go down for prayer for anxiety related to my trauma because they don't get it.
Right.
And it just frustrates me when they're, the response is, well, you should just journal. And I'm like,
it's like it's a one-off.
First of all, I hate journaling. That's not my jam. Second of all, it's useful in a lot of ways, but it's not going to cure me if I do it for 6 months. Okay. And then the person, this is the other thing that frustrates me, is I'll say, well, that doesn't really work for me. And they're like, well, why not? And I'm like, that's what the chiropractor kind of had that attitude. And I was like, I don't think walking's going to help. The expectation is they're right. And because it worked for them, it'll work for you. But, we're not, like I said, we're not talking about normal anxiety. It's not like I'm, getting a new position at work and I'm a little nervous about it. That's not the kind of anxiety I'm talking about.
Right.
Yeah.
We're talking about long-term deep anxiety, and they're treating it like it's a one-off.
Right.
Like it's a one-time situation when you've been this way for your entire life.
Right.
Yeah. Or you just haven't tried this thing that'll work.
Right.
I've got the cure, so you should try it. And you just kind of, here it is again. They just don't get it.
Right. And it's not necessarily their fault.
Right. No. Because that could work for someone else.
Right.
And they've probably used it in their own lives, and they've seen it work for other people. So they're trying to be helpful. But a lot of times I think, all right, I know I can talk to Steph and Rochelle, and yeah, I'm on the right now in
You're
mine.
on the either side, I'm
So
in the middle of
wherever
mine.
you guys are, I know you guys will get it. And I also think, let me jot that down to talk to my therapist about, because
Yeah.
you just don't want to go through that whole rigmarole of I'm sharing a problem, they're sharing a solution. Now I have to try to be polite and
Right. And you
it's
don't want to
like,
trauma dump by explaining why that wouldn't work.
yes, and I've done
Yeah.
that as well. And then they get frustrated, and then I get frustrated, and I'm like, this isn't good for anybody.
Yeah.
Right.
Because what we need is something that's more like moment by moment, day by day. I remember, Steph, you talked about once how you pictured it. You could probably, expand on this a bit, but kind of like you had this little tiny chisel, little hammer, and there's this huge like marble, thing in front of you, and you're just chipping away at it. And it's not, hey, this thing, and suddenly it's a beautiful sculpture. It's more
Yeah.
like, what's today's work?
I'll expand on that, but Rochelle wanted to say something. We kind of interrupted her.
Oh yeah, sorry about that.
I was just saying that it's just the most frustrating thing for me is that people act like it's this. I mean, it is terrible. Don't get me wrong, but the context is like, if you don't do this thing, it's never gonna like go. I don't know how to explain it. Like, it just feels like there's a sudden urgency or fear that they're having about it, and I've kind of been in it my whole life, kind of resigned to it, like having chronic pain or chronic illness. And they're like, "Oh my gosh, we had to help you because of that." And I had that experience a lot when I was younger. But I finally just stopped telling people about it because that's what would happen, especially believers, fellow believers. This sort of panicky, like, feeling of urgency, like they had to fix me or they had to figure out a way to help me or fix me in the short term, like a one-off. And it's hard to explain to people, not a one-off. It's an ongoing problem. And the worst thing that people have said to me was, "Well, you just don't trust God enough. You're not healed because you don't trust God enough." I'm like, no, that's not what's happening. Heard that one a lot.
Yeah, that's one. That's a real huge pet peeve for me. That's a very specific kind of Christianity that believes this kind of thing, and I've experienced way too much. I've had miraculous things happen at times, but the majority of the last 35 years, this month is my 35th year in recovery, by the way. I don't know what to do, celebrate or feel really sad.
Celebrate.
Anyway.
When in doubt, celebrate.
Okay. Anyway, yeah. Oh gosh, I forgot what I was going to say. Oh no, it happened again.
So that form of Christianity that basically says you don't have enough faith.
I've had some miraculous times, but those were God directed. It wasn't really me doing anything. It just happened. But I've had most of this 35 years. I've had to just work at it. The little chisel and hammer you're referring to. I've come to believe probably about 15 years ago that this process was my sanctification process. This is how God's forming me into what he wants me to be.
Yeah.
But I've also experienced people laying their hands on me and praying for me and just nothing happening.
Yeah.
And I had to at times pretend that something was happening. At times I believed at the time something was happening, but then nothing changed afterwards.
Right.
It's really tough to be in the position in any setting. It doesn't have to be in church. It could be any setting where people are just expecting you to just get over it in whatever way they're prescribing to you. And you're like, I'm sorry, it's not working. And they're like, well, what? You're just not trying hard enough. You're not believing hard enough. And you don't know what to do. Like, I don't know what to do in that circumstance. Do I walk away? Do I, politely decline? I feel like these days I just don't want to engage with people like that.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
just don't want to go there.
Yeah, because like we were saying, it's like you don't want to go through this process again with
Right.
people who don't understand how this works. I think this is where sometimes, like, I'm in a support group that's similar to a 12-step, and I was always of the mind that if I tried hard enough, I could fix whatever,
Mm-hmm.
And I had a certain amount of success with that. I'd mentioned about getting, physically fit, eating well, and, doing the exercise and whatnot. And so I thought, well, I should be able to fix my mind. And, when you realize nothing's working, or maybe you get some success, and then you start to think, okay, that works. So let me try a little harder.
Mm-hmm.
But when I started going to the 12-step program, like I go to, some of the principles I found really helpful. Like, I can't fix this, essentially.
Right.
If I could, I'd be fixed.
Right.
And then also the concept of, and you'll hear this a lot in the recovery community, but one day at a time. And I find the one day at a time principle to be so helpful, because I will tell you, and I think about this every day, I usually wake up in the morning feeling like I can't face any of this today. I just feel like it's too much.
Yeah.
And I start to think through my day, and I start to think, and everything is like big and scary. And then I think, I only have to live this moment right now. So let me get some coffee and let me be in each moment of the day. And I find that moment by moment, it's like those terrifying thoughts at least calm down a little, because I don't have to do something I need to do 3 hours from now. I only have to do right now. Like, we're doing this podcast right now. I don't have to go wash my face and get ready for bed. And,
Yeah.
all I have to do is be here right now. And I find that helps. And usually at some point, things kind of go back down to the low hum. And I realize I'm, that one that Steph had mentioned, wherever Steph is, had mentioned.
I'm in my dining room.
We're always, to a certain extent, operating in this kind of higher frequency. But that spike I usually have in the morning usually calms down. And I consider it as part of my training, my daily training. Being in the martial art we're in, and I know Rochelle has talked about this, how she's really had to go the slow path, and it's that same idea of, we don't become skilled martial artists overnight, and it's always going to be more to learn, more to grow. And I'm grateful, Steph had talked about the sanctification, this slow path of healing. And I feel like I'm getting, I'm accepting that, the slow path, but also seeing how the training in the martial arts has helped. So between, the therapist, the 12-step like program I attend, and the martial art, it's teaching me, it's long, it's slow, but we can make progress. And I think that that's the encouraging part. It isn't just this all the time, or God forbid, going down and getting worse. Yeah. Although sometimes we have, blips that go down, we have blips that go up too. But
yeah. Well, there's a couple different things I want to talk about. One is the assumption that I live my life, if there's a scale like this, right here in the middle is 0, that I live somewhere above 0. That's the assumption. But I actually live below 0. my capacity is negative.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm slowly trying to climb out from wherever I started up to what's normal, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes I get a little spike of positive things that happen and it'll go up a little bit. It'll often go back down, like you said, Evelyn.
Mm-hmm.
Pete Walker talked about regressions. I've
Yeah.
had those too. I'm in a regression right now, actually. And I don't live my life normally. I don't live my life at 0 or above. I live my life below 0. So that means a lot of extra energy is spent on just dealing with whatever's going on in that particular day. And I have to treat my condition like an illness, actually.
Mm-hmm.
So you were talking earlier, Evelyn, about food and exercise and other things, journaling, whatever. Those were things you're trying to fix yourself with.
Mm-hmm.
But those things are actually good for us because they actually help boost our mood. I was going to say boost our bood.
Well, my bood needs a good moosting every so often, but that's not what this podcast is about.
Yeah, I mean, if I was like not careful, I could just so easily be in a super dark mood.
Mm-hmm. Same
right
here.
Yeah.
So I if I eat right, exercise, I'm diabetic, so I have to watch my blood sugar, take my meds. That's the other thing. Take your meds, see your doctor, do what you got to do to take care of your body. Those things help keep you stable enough to do the work.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they support your efforts. Like if you have an illness, you have to do things to support yourself while the illness is spiking. It's no different for this. It's no different for what we're dealing with. Any sort of mental health issue, whether it's an organic brain issue or a trauma issue like ours, you have to support yourself with good things. And to keep me out of the really dark place, to keep me out of depression and despair, because it's so easy to go there.
Yeah.
And then we were talking about chipping away at things. Now, the quick fix schemes that we've been talking about made me think that I had to drop an atom bomb on my mountain and I'd be done. Right? Just the right prayer, just the right belief, just the right supplement,
the right
whatever.
formula.
Something was going to drop an atom bomb, mountain's gone, I'm fixed, I'm healed, I can move on with my life. And I was living like that for some time. Probably 20, 25 years, I'd say. But at some point about 10 or so years ago, I got comfortable with, this is my life. This is how I live. I live recovering from my trauma.
Yeah.
And, to not be so dark and negative about it. If God's using it for sanctification, that means he's using it for my good, which means he's teaching me and growing me as a person. So I just cooperate.
Yes.
Yeah.
And one of the ways the Lord has me cooperating is I imagine this giant mountain and I have the tiniest chisel and hammer and I go tink, 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 tink on some problem. And I just sit there and chisel as the Lord directs. And I keep chiseling at it. Now, I don't know. I've never really chiseled a thing in my life. But I have watched sculptors chisel at marble. And they start out with big, rough, chunks.
Yeah.
Chip, 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 chip. And then they get smaller and smaller and smaller and more fine until they're the tiniest little, whatever they're doing. It doesn't happen all at once. They can't just go tap and the whole thing's done.
And suddenly it's the statue of David.
Right?
Yeah.
It doesn't work like that. And the chiseling is if I get triggered, knowing I'm triggered, following a path to understand the trigger, and then work with my body to calm it down,
Yeah.
talk to someone, whatever I got to do, whatever I've developed, whatever the Lord's directed me to develop for myself that works for me.
Mm-hmm.
Then I do those things. Now that changes over time. Like I don't do the same
Yeah.
things now that I did 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of resting, to be honest.
Yeah.
But the chisel and the hammer is just me cooperating with the Lord in the program He's set for me. The problem would be is if I was like, I'm done, I gave up.
Mm-hmm. Like this
Yeah.
is too hard, or it's
This
taking
is too
too
much,
long, or
taking too long.
I can't do this. It's too much.
Yeah.
Yeah. There seems to be an expectation in and out of religion that, and I had this expectation myself for a very long time. So very similar to what you guys are talking about, that every day, one day, it's all going to change. Everything's going to be fine. That the trauma didn't have the depth in my life that it has. And I wasn't actively searching for some sort of miracle, but I was waiting for something to dramatic or drastic to change to where I was suddenly better.
Right.
And it's taken me 20 years to accept that this is just how it is. And acceptance is the key, because we can accept anything, and it's not saying it's easy, but it's possible. And I think this expectation penetrates society overall because people are trying to get out of pain. They're trying to run away from it. I include myself in that. And because it sucks and it feels terrible and nothing fun about it. But
yeah,
people who I have found and observed, people who accept something that seems impossible to the majority stand out. They are very unusual just by definition because they do something that other people don't think is possible. How can you accept that? How can you just accept that this is your life? This is the way it is. Like if they have an ill spouse or something like that, or they have major trauma or mental illness and they're trying to deal with it in a way that's different. They're not trying to walk away from it. They're not trying to run away or get out of it. They're actually facing it and dealing with it.
Yeah,
they stand out automatically. They're unusual and they're not the standard in society. Because if I rarely talk openly about my trauma. If someone asks me a question, I don't try to hide it, but I don't talk about it in detail. But if someone does ask me something specific, I don't have a problem telling them. Because that's just the way it is. Like I can't go back and fix it. I'm not ashamed of it. It happened. And they don't understand, like, how can you still... No one's actually asked me directly, how can I still deal with it? But they do find it unusual that I don't try to run away from it. I'm not trying to cure myself, so to speak. I'm trying to deal with it and figure it out day to day.
Well, like, we've talked about in the past, most people don't want to experience pain most of the time.
Right.
And trauma is pain. I mean, anybody who's trying to tell you different is telling you something. That applies.
Selling something.
Selling whatever.
Princess Bride, in case you didn't get it. I mean, it's more like coming to terms with reality. Which, well,
it's the name of the podcast, Facing Reality.
Facing Reality.
That was not intentional, by the way. This is.
But it's like, why would I want to fight the truth? Really? Because I remember going through this in college. I had these existential moments, like, you grew up in a Christian home or whatever, and then you go out into the world. And I remember being in college and my faith being actively challenged. And I remembered thinking, you know what? I want what's true. If atheism is true, I want it. If Christianity is true, I want it. And I started to play these little games with myself. Like, why would I argue that the sky is blue? Maybe I'd want to discover why, but why would I try to claim that it's not? You know what I mean? And and how it's empowering to align with reality.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's ironic and kind of weird, but despite whatever anxious thing that's happening to me at any given moment, I actually feel at peace.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not striving and struggling anymore to attain some kind of perfection, I guess. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Or
Right.
healing.
Yeah.
I mean, I know
Be
that
be
healing
normal.
comes. Yeah, I know
Yeah.
healing comes like when it's supposed to, it'll happen.
Yeah.
Right? And the only thing that's required of me is to be faithful to whatever the program is, whatever the method is,
Mm-hmm.
and to
Mhm.
stay true to that and keep doing the right things and keep,
Yeah.
you know, or I can't always do the right thing all the time. Sometimes I can't do anything at all, but
Mm-hmm.
the majority of the time I can. And because I can, I know that I'm okay. Like
Yeah.
ultimately, I'm
Mhm.
okay. And even though I don't feel okay,
Mm-hmm.
I feel terrible. I feel scared. I feel like, hiding, and I feel like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, fighting the wind or whatever.
Yeah.
Despite all of that, ultimately, I know I'm resting and I'm okay and
Mm-hmm.
God's got me, and that He ultimately is going to bring me to, peace and healing, whatever that means at some point, whether
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
it's now or in the great beyond in heaven.
Yeah.
I know that it's coming because
Mm-hmm.
it's promised to me as a
Yeah.
Christian person. And in the meanwhile, to be the best representative I can of Jesus
Mhm.
and of God, of the kingdom of heaven right now. The testimony, the witness
Mm-hmm.
is the chiseling.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And what happens as a result of the chiseling? Like when God, sometimes God will have me do like the same area for some time, like I'll keep going, like a couple of years usually, keep going at it, chisel, 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 and then something will happen. An epiphany will arrive.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
And then suddenly I've gone, "Whoop, I'm headed this direction now. Something has changed now. The relief has
Mhm.
come. The healing has
Yeah.
happened." But it's not when I ask for it. It's always when He's decided it's time.
Yeah, and it's like that tipping point. You had to keep chiseling until it got to that point. I mean,
Right.
going back to the sculptor, it doesn't quite look like a nice smooth leg, for example, until he finishes that part. Now there it is.
Right.
And I wanted to share, I had grabbed this from my little table over here. Um,
Oh, yeah.
so some time ago, Steph and I were talking about this. She was talking about her mountain that she was chiseling, and she was trying to help me understand that this is long term. And I was still like, I didn't want it to be true. And I remember her, when we were talking about it, her saying, it's kind of like you've got this bucket of yuck. And this bucket of yuck is your, all your traumas and all these things that have happened in your life. And it's your bucket of yuck. And I was like, I don't want it. Get that yuck bucket away from me.
Who does?
Who does, right?
Right.
And I kind of, because I'm a writer and I think very visually, and I'm like, oh, then part of me is like, yeah, I could picture that. And it helped quantify it a bit instead of it being this sort of nebulous, I don't know, something's wrong, but to be able to picture this. So I kind of like the concept. And
Mhm.
then she mentioned about taking a little thimble. This is a little ceramic thimble, and scooping it into the yuck bucket. And that's all you have to do on a given day, but every day to pick up the thimble and scoop, today's portion. And
Yeah.
I will tell you, at first, I did not like that idea, but I had this thimble in mind. It wasn't always on this table, but I knew right where to find it. I went and grabbed it from the other part of the house, and I set it on the little table where it sits now, which is right across from where I stretch in the morning. And I started to ask God about it, because if it's true, like I said before, if it's true, I'm in. If it's for me, I'm in. Even if it's hard, I want the right thing. And this is a daily reminder. And I don't always think in terms of the thimble, but I keep going back to that. And I've accepted my yuck bucket. In fact, I could even say what I'm picturing now is I've embraced it as this is part of, I don't know if I want to go all the way to say part of me, but it's part of where I am and who I am right now. And this is part of my life.
It's your reality.
Yes. Oh, there's that word again. It's my reality, but I love that I don't have to take I'm never asked to get a whole bucket, on a given day, although some days I'd say there's 2 or 3 of these. But it's always like I was saying, like I often start in the morning like I feel like I can't do any of the things I'm supposed to do. But then I think, all right, I'm sipping out of this thing too. All I have to do is be here right now. What do I need to do right here, right now? Now I'm in the next moment. What do I have to do right here, right now? And there are some things that the Lord is challenging me with, and it's catching. It's catching. And it's hard because there's some ingrained patterns in me that I have kind of become comfortable with, but still uncomfortable because, did you ever get sort of used to this is, I'm going to use the word again, the reality of my life right now. But I'm becoming more and more aware of it. And I'm like, I really want this to change. And then I start seeing, here's how you can start to change it. I'm like, I don't really want to do that.
Yeah.
Oh, it's one way to know it's God too. Because it's not something I would necessarily do. But I have been pushing myself to do kind of the opposite of what I feel like doing. And I've been working on it today. Now, at one point at the end of the day, I slipped back into an old pattern. And I remember as I was leaving work, I went, yeah, I kind of blew it there at the end. Let me see if I could do better on that tomorrow. And it wasn't all the way to my usual, see, it's not working. Shame on you. It was more like seeing it in terms of training. Here's where I got it right. Here's where I missed the mark. And let me be more mindful of my tendency to, miss the mark in that particular way. Oh, hey, look, I just found another thimble. I didn't know that was there. Anyway, squirrel. And yeah, I actually saw some at work today. They were adorable. But anyway, but that makes it doable. And it makes it part of my training. So, okay, I'm training in this. So I got to keep practicing.
Yeah. Training is life. Life is training. It's like when a baby's learning to walk, they don't just stand up and start walking.
Right.
They fall down quite a bit.
Fall several times before they can walk.
There's something in their mind. There's something in their brain that's prompting them to, their body has grown in proportion. Now their head's not the biggest thing on their body anymore. Their arms and legs have grown out. They've gained some muscle. Something in their brain's like, okay, it's time to walk now, whenever that's happening for them. I walked at 9 months. Anyway, most babies walk somewhere around a year.
Yeah, that's how it was with mine.
But you can tell when they're trying because they start pulling themselves up to a standing position, then they'll fall. And then they're trying to climb up stairs or they're trying to get on furniture. The parents are like, oh, you want to learn how to walk? And they grab their arms and start, helping them around. And then at some point, it seems like they could try on their own. And then they try. And they take a couple steps and they fall down and then they get back up and they do it again and again and again and again until they figure it out. And that's our life.
Yeah.
Only we're trying to figure out how to be more normal.
Yeah. Yeah. Try to go from, like you were saying,
the negative to 0.
To get here.
And depending on the complexity of what you dealt with as a kid, that could take your entire life.
Yeah.
I really am just stuck on this idea of like starting in a deficit, living in a deficit, and accepting that as it is. Like, it's not a new concept to me, but it's one that I haven't exercised until recently. Like, I'm in this situation now where I'm grieving the childhood I should have had, and I can't stop the grief. Like, it hits in waves. I can't do anything about it. It's just overwhelming. Even talking about it's like bringing up all the feelings.
Yeah.
And I've worked to accept this is how it is right now. And I said to Stephanie yesterday, I said, this is one thing now. There's going to be something else around the corner after that. It's just be one thing after another. And I'm learning to be okay with it. I'm learning to accept things as they are. I did have an experience like this when my marriage ended for about 2 years. I did accept it at that point as well. It was different because it was temporary. And this doesn't feel temporary. I mean, the reason I'm going through something might be different, but it's always going to be something.
Yeah.
And I think the idea that someone could just accept things as they are and walk through it voluntarily is so foreign to most people, which is why stories are written about heroes, and people who do that stand out and they're unusual because they have strength and they have perseverance, and people don't generally, they look up to people like that, but they don't generally do that themselves. They're trying to get out of it. They're trying to figure out a way around it. And I was doing that for a while when this first started hitting. I was trying to find a way around it unconsciously. I realized there's no way around it. I just have to go through it. I can't go around it. I can't get out of it. It's happening to me. I have no power to stop or control it.
Yeah.
And learning to accept that does bring a level of peace.
Yeah.
And a level of, okay, I don't have to fight this. I just have to let it happen. It hurts and it sucks. Like yesterday, man, just this feeling like in the middle of my being, like it just hurt. And it just hurt. And it didn't stop hurting for a while. Pretty much from the time I woke up until we went to church. And even during church, it just hurt and hurt and hurt and didn't stop hurting. It finally lessened and I was able to have a relatively good day, but it was still there the entire day. I've been nauseous. I've had stomach problems since Friday night. And like, man, it's just, you can't stop that sort of thing. But I wouldn't want to either, because I know it's better than running and hiding is. Running and hiding feels good in the moment, but it doesn't do anything except make things worse. It's like eating too much or doing drugs. It's the same idea. Like, it's going to alleviate something temporarily, but it's not going to do anything in the long term except make things worse for you.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, one thing I was thinking about as we were talking about this, when we talk about the baby, and I was thinking about, I don't remember which one it was of mine. It was one of my girls. I have 4 kids. And I remember one of my little girls falling down. And she looked startled and she looked a little bit upset. And she looked at us. And we went, "It's okay. Get back up. Get back up." And it was like it helped her to frame it in a way that it could have gone either way. It could have been, oh, this is terrible. And then she would have cried and, but having somebody there, you're experiencing this and then looking out for encouragement or for something, some sort of input, some sort of feedback to help frame it in a way that helps you to get up and keep trying. And, when we're really struggling, when Rochelle, she reached out to us and she let us know that she was, having a rough morning. She wasn't sure what to do. We were able to encourage her. And I was thinking how good it is as we're in this for the long term to find support and help. And not just this is my life and it sucks, but this is my life. It's hard. What I'm doing right now sucks. But I've got, a friend and I, we came up with this term some years ago, and we're still kind of there for each other, even though she moved pretty far away. We called ourselves trench friends. And
Mm.
when we're really struggling,
Mm-hmm.
you know, especially before I was able to develop a relationship with these two lovely ladies, I knew, and I know I still can reach out to her and say, this is really hard right now. Could you help me contextualize it? Because it feels big and awful and terrible. And how good it is as we're going through this to have people with us who can help us and give us some encouragement and some feedback, not false positivity, but you know, Steph has told me, actually, I'm encouraged that you're feeling this way. And I'm like, I hate it. She goes, well, it's good. You asked to feel, and now you're feeling, and you're feeling bad feelings, but you're feeling. And I was like, so this is good? You know?
Yeah.
And because she was able to do that for me, now when, not if, when I feel horrible, I think, this is probably for my good. And it's not something, you know, like Rochelle talked about, like that desire to run away. That was always my thing. It was either freeze or flee, you know,
Yeah.
instead of pushing into it and going, all right, you know, I feel this way. This is going to maybe cut something off that shouldn't be there or do something good.
Yeah. You recently helped me. I had gotten very triggered and was feeling like I wanted to punish myself. I was bad. I did bad things. And wanted to run. I mean, the feeling to want to run away and hide and punish myself was so strong. And just at some point in the afternoon, you offered to talk because I think it was Labor Day.
Yeah.
And you were home. So I called you up. We did a FaceTime and I talked to you about what triggered me and we talked about it. And as we were sorting through what happened, it gave me the ability to kind of zoom out a little bit. I know I just talked to my therapist about it on last Wednesday, since I had therapy last Wednesday. But I was able to zoom out and start to look at things in a more logical manner. It's not something I can necessarily do on my own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not very easily until I've gotten enough training. And it helped me for you to validate my experience, and also that I wasn't as bad as I thought I was. I didn't do as badly as I thought. That I wasn't actually evil in the situation.
Yeah.
So yeah, it definitely helps to have, like, you know, the quick fix thing is such a cliche and so wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really a multitude of miniature moments like that where we're just helping each other out. We're just falling down and getting up again, and we're just continuing to put one foot in front of the other and keep trying, no matter how scary or painful or hard something seems, because it is about perception. Like everything's about perception. And because we built these little systems in our minds to keep ourselves safe as kids, we're hardwired this way.
Yeah.
And the mind is plastic and capable of changing, but it's not automatic.
Right.
It's not overnight. There's no pills, there's no abracadabras, there's no books or platitudes or mantras. There's nothing, absolutely nothing that will change anything instantaneously. It might help over time.
Yeah.
Because it is really it really is about changing what I believe. But I can't just say, abracadabra, I'm fixed.
There.
It might take me 3 years. It might take me 3 years of trying to say the platitude before I actually am affected by that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything we're talking, everything are blah, 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 blah.
Your turn.
We're talking about are good tools, but they're not going to fix us.
Right.
I guess you could put it in the category of self-care, which is a good thing. But it's not going to fix you. It's not going to make you better. It's just something
Not
you
right
can
away.
do.
Right.
Not right away. It's something you can do to help yourself through the healing process. They're not bad things. They're just things that you can do. And
Right.
they're
Tools.
not, but they're not a cure.
Right. There's supports for changing your brain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even, when I was talking about being there for each other, there's a biblical term of bearing one another's burdens, which means
Right.
everybody's carrying something heavy. So we're
Right.
helping you. I hit my computer. We're helping each other. I'm sorry. Did I just trigger you?
We had an earthquake.
Sorry about that. It's my flailing limbs. But no, there's still the heavy things we have to carry,
Right.
But I think that there's a depth that we end up developing over time. Rochelle had talked about people that we really admire. And I think about somebody like Johnny Erickson Tata, which I encourage you to look up if you don't already know her. She experiences chronic pain and is in a wheelchair, and she's paralyzed, and all of the things that go along with that. But she is also, you could see, such a deep person, and she has basically accepted the pain, and she has ways that she deals with it. It doesn't make it go away, but it helps to mitigate it, and it helps to develop our character. So that's another way that we can see it as a positive, because if we got fixed right away, I tell you, I've mentioned this in the last podcast, and it's just true. I need to have my character develop, because I'm kind of a jerk if left to my own devices.
Me too.
Yeah, me too.
So to have to endure and to develop this patience and endurance and perseverance.
You always find some way to bring that up at least once a week.
It's become my life. So just a little insider information. Steph's dojo has these 3 key words: perseverance, endurance, and patience.
Patience, endurance, perseverance. Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's pep. I get them out of order sometimes, but and I just realized, it's not just something we talk about, but it's something that is developed over time. Patience doesn't come instantly. It's the very opposite of that. Endurance. If you can just pick something up easily, or do something easily, why do you have to endure? And patience,
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you think about God's expectations of us, it says to love one another. What's the 2 greatest commandments? To love the Lord your God with all of your entire being. I'm paraphrasing. And to love your neighbor as yourself. Can you love your neighbor?
Yeah.
I mean, it must be possible, but not without his help. And it's not instant. No. It's not just, I love my neighbor.
I do not want to love my neighbors in and of myself. If that's a commandment, Lord, help me figure out a way to want to do that, first of all.
Yeah.
And how to do that. Not to mention all the, different lists in the epistles, the Galatians list of the works of the flesh and the fruits of the spirit, 1 Corinthians 13, what does love look like? I take the Galatians list seriously, like comparing my behavior to the lists, both of them, not just the good one, but the bad one too. If I know that I'm not patient, what does that mean? Well, that means God has to teach me how to be patient.
Yeah.
And he's going to put me in circumstances where patience is required.
Right. And I think, people joke about that, like, don't ask for patience, don't pray for patience, you're going to get hard stuff. And I've always thought, but if I want to be a patient person, then I'm going to ask for it. I'm going to put up with whatever I want to put up with.
Well, yeah, because love is, I think the first one in
love
1
is
Corinthians,
patient.
Love is patience. God is love. That means God is patient. He expects us to be patient. And, I have a husband and a couple of boys. I've got friends. Am I patient in and of myself? No, I'm not a patient person. Actually, I'm very impatient. I want everything now, right?
Mhm.
So I have to learn how to be patient. So God uses my circumstance to teach me that. Because
Yeah.
I want the quick fix. I want the trauma recovery to be over.
Yeah.
Right.
I want to move on with my life, and I want to be free, and I want to be happy. But that's not my reality. My reality
Right.
is I am stuck with this, and I am okay with it because I
Mhm.
know that God is going to teach me all of the qualities that are listed in 1
Mhm.
Corinthians 13. And he's going to develop all of the fruits of the
Mhm.
Spirit within me. And he's going to do it through this.
Yeah.
So
And-
I can cooperate.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, at one time I was thinking about, what do I want? And I was thinking about that list, like you were saying, Steph. I want it to be easy. I want to be able to just get up and be able to do the things or whatever. And then I look at those lists and I think, but what do I really, really want?
Mm-hmm.
I want to be like Johnny Erickson Tada. I want to be patient. I want to be kind, like really kind.
Mm-hmm.
I want to love for real. Okay. Then I'm in it for the long term.
Excuse me. Whew. I think that's a signal.
And it is 1:11. 1:11.
1 hour, 11 minutes.
1 hour and 11 minutes. I'm squinting.
I don't know why I said 1:11.
It's
I was just reading
1:11.
It's
Oh, look, I can see it
8:35.
now. Oh,
Oh,
wow.
it's amazing what you can do with your glasses.
Yeah, except you see the little reflections of the...
Yes.
This is what happens when I wear glasses. I can see what I'm doing, but you guys can't see my eyes. It's like they're
Tiny computer screens.
magic.
And for those of us who have ADD or ADHD, is like, look at that weird blue thing going on in her eyes. Wonder what that is. Wonder what's on her computer scrrn. Wonder why she just now burped. Wonder why she's doing that with her head. Anyway.
Oh my gosh. Speaking of belching,
are we
speaking of belching?
Evelyn brought it up.
Endurance, perseverance, burping.
I got to church yesterday, and this young man walked out that I had known since he was like 5 years old, 6 years old, something like that. I used to babysit him and his siblings when they were little, and I would entertain them with my ability to belch.
Okay, then.
That was one of the ways that I kept them entertained. They were
That's
so
funny.
amused by it. So amused.
That's funny.
And yeah, so that flooded my memories of like, oh, there's that guy who I belched at when he was a little guy.
And he's probably thinking, oh, there's that lady who used to belch at me.
I don't know if he was thinking that.
It's entirely possible.
It's kind of funny, actually. Yeah. Anyway,
oh my goodness.
So I think the conclusion we're coming to is that this is a long haul type of situation, and we can't expect to jump into wholeness and healing. In a sense, we've already achieved it by accepting Christ, but at the same time, we have to work out our salvation here on earth.
Yeah.
And I know that God's got me, so I'm not worried about it at all.
Yeah.
But I also have to endure. I have to have patience and endure and persevere through the trials and tribulations. But at the same time, I know that good's coming, so it doesn't bother me to go through it.
And there is good too along the way. It's not just, it's coming definitely, but we can also, like, every day I look back on my day these days, because it's, it's been what it's been, and I'll go, wow, that actually went okay. Thank you, God. And then I fully expect to be, down below zero again in the morning, but there's good along the way that we can celebrate, and then more to come. It's all worth it. It really is.
Don't despair. Just because things take time, it doesn't mean it's not going to get better.
Yeah.
And you're a better person for it in the end.
And you will grow, and you'll become a better version of yourself over time.
Yes.
Yeah. So thank you for joining us on this particular episode. We appreciate you listening. Give us a thumbs up, a comment, say yo.
Yo.
You know, I
Give
mean,
us
if you're
a yo.
if you're a Gen Xer, say yo. If you're not, say hello. I don't know. Anyway,
Say sup.
push all the things, do all the things on the whatever platform you're listening to us
all the
on.
things. Do all the things.
Like subscribe,
Subscribe, like, comment, whatever.
do all the stuff.
Push, smash, gently touch. I don't care. Do whatever you got to do.
Just do it.
Just do it.
Do it.
Hey. Yeah, but we appreciate you taking the time, and please share. We want people to be encouraged to hear this kind of talk, because I don't feel like there's enough of it. And you know, we're not therapists. We're just regular people living this life.
Yep.
And you know, we're trying to use what we've learned for good to help, to encourage people to work harder, to do more, to get themselves going in the right direction, to not give up, don't despair, you know, that kind of thing. So please share it with other people. Yeah. All right. Well, I'm Stephanie Dunham.
I'm Evelyn Mason.
I'm Rochelle Knapp.
Have a good whatever.
See ya.
Have a good one.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
We hope you enjoyed today's episode. Thanks so much for joining us as we discussed such an important topic. We hope you got some food for thought and encouragement to keep going and keep growing. See you later, Bear Club.